Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Freddie Abram. How are you, Freddie?
Hi, viewers, and obviously a very happy Mother's Day. Hope all your children have spoilt your rotten today.
Yes, Mother's Day as well. I'd forgotten all about that, Freddie. Has everyone calmed down? Have we all slept on it, and are we all okay with it? I'm gonna put this up a question first of all, and this is to everyone and to you, Freddie, of course, as well. And it is,
Okay.
what are your initial thoughts on the game yesterday? So your initial thoughts on it, Freddie?
I think we started off well compared to the last three games. I think overall, though, it was a little bit frustrating. We've had 57% possession overall in the game, and according to the stats, we've had 24 shots on target, and from that four on target. So you'd be hoping for at least one goal from that. But I think it was just one of them days yesterday. I think we struggled to do anything in the final third, to be honest.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, actually. My initial thoughts on it, I thought that Blackpool dominated. Thought that Fleetwood came, I think we're talking about just before the show, that Fleetwood came with a game plan to just defend, try and catch us on the break if they could. And I think to a certain extent, they battled for it, and you've got to give them credit for it because they did get the bodies on the line everywhere. They, like you say, there was how many? 24 shots.
Yeah, 24 shots.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things were blocked. There were some lucky ones. We'll talk about them later, particularly Massey Virtue at the end where the deflection just took it over the bar. The referee was a bit odd as well, if I'm being honest. I thought he booked a couple of our players for next to nothing. I still can't get over that Kai booking. I don't know what it was for. And of course, we may well talk about should there been a red card as well. But initial thoughts, I'm going to go from that to, which is all basically on the same thing, that were you happy with the starting lineup? I'll ask you your thoughts first, Freddie, and then I will tell you my thoughts on it, and also if there's any comments, I'll have a look to see your thoughts on that. Okay, so
I guess I was happy with the starting lineup. To be honest, I would have liked to see Gabriel start at right back. I do feel that we would have offered more of a threat going forward against Fleetwood had Gabriel started. But saying that, Turton came in, had a fantastic game, and he was man of the match.
Yes, he was.
So yeah, I was very happy with the starting lineup. It's also good to see Dougal coming back into the starting lineup. So yeah, overall, I was happy with that starting lineup, Lee.
Yeah, I looked at it. My initial thoughts were exactly the same. I was pretty excited about it. It was a 4-4-2. Like the way we'd set up. I'm with you as well. I thought that, well, if we'd have known probably with hindsight that Fleetwood were going to play such a defensive, spoiling game that maybe we didn't need the strength of the defense as much as we did, and maybe we would have been better with Gabriel attacking down that right, because it might, we might have been able to attack better that way set up. And I think Gabriel makes a difference. He does make a difference when he's on in that attacking role, because at the moment the one problem for me with Blackpool is we're just not scoring goals. And we all talk about getting in the playoffs and can we get to the playoffs, but if we carry on in this way we're playing, where it's a real struggle to score a goal for some unknown reason. We don't get the luck sometimes I think we deserve. CJ's come back in and you're thinking that's going to make a difference. We are missing Medine, desperately, but we've got to play without 100%. Him. But we're not getting, the rub of the green. And sometimes you just need that bit of luck, that gets us back on the winning trail. But if we keep struggling to score one goals and teams can set up against us and stop us, then we're not going to make the playoffs. It's not going to happen. Right. Just very quickly, I'll just go through the people. Go on. Sorry.
I was saying that, like, what I've read from Matt Scrafton is that Blackpool has scored 36 goals from 31 games, which is, is actually a lower amount from the bottom three clubs out of the four that are down there. But on the flip side, defensively, we've actually got the second best defence in the league, and we've kept 13 clean sheets, and we've only conceded 28 goals. So it does show that we are really, really good at the back. But going
Mm,
forward, and definitely in the final third, we are struggling for goals this season. I mean, we have touched upon many times that Blackpool are able to get that one goal. Unfortunately not yesterday, but in most games, we are scoring that one goal, and then
mm.
we're not conceding, but we're not scoring more than one. So
No, no, it is painful to watch along with me because it's it's so stressful.
yeah,
But it's very stressful, and I think everybody's stressing when it's 0-0 and when it's 1-0 and all those sort of scores. You know, the last 10 minutes, it really is a stress to watch. And it would just be nice, just one time, to actually, have a game like Charlton and just be like 2 or 3 up the first half and just enjoy the game. But it's not. We really are doing it the hard way. But that is,
yeah, definitely,
looking back over the years, Blackpool have often been that sort of team that have always, have never been that team that are prolifically winning goals. Only in that, with Holloway, where we were incredible. We really were an attacking side and creating lots of chances and really putting teams
yeah,
under
definitely,
pressure. But since those days, it's always, being a Blackpool fan has always been about scrapping for wins somehow along the way.
yeah.
Right, let's
I
just
think
go
with
through some comments. Yeah, go on.
Holloway's philosophy, it was always it doesn't matter how many we're going to concede because we're always going to score more.
Yeah, but we're not in that frame of mind at the moment, are we? I don't know if it's a mental thing or not.
No,
Right, Giles Morgan's here. Hello,
no,
Giles. He says we could do with Gary Medine Tuesday night against Burton and Stewart out for the season. Ligament ankle damage. Is that right? It's ligament ankle damage. We're out. So we've got replacement Ethan Robson on the sub bench Tuesday night. Yep, can go with that. I don't.
yeah,
I actually
that's
like
news
Kenny
to me that
Dougal.
obviously Stuart's out for the season.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I do.
It does
I
look
was
good.
talking to you before, Lee, that when Stuart went off, I strongly believe that we actually saw the Dougal of pre-COVID. I believe that once Stuart went off, Dougal actually looked back to his best, and I was actually very impressed with Virtue when Virtue came off the bench. And to be honest, the
Yeah,
game on Tuesday night against Burton is going to be very, very difficult. They have won, I think, 6 of the last 7 or something like that.
yeah.
So yeah, I would like to see Virtue and Dougal start
Dougal.
on Tuesday night.
Yeah. Well, I think Dougal was the turnaround, wasn't he, for Blackpool? I mean, a lot of people, say Colin Calderwood coming in was a big moment, but at that same time, Kenny Dougal came in, and I don't think Blackpool ever looked back until he went down with COVID. I thought we were fantastic with Kenny Dougal in,
Yeah,
and I don't know about you, but I thought we actually looked better with Dougal and Matty Virtue rather than Dougal and Stewart. I thought we looked a better team when he went. Hard to say, and he didn't want to go off and everything else, and it was hard to get him off the pitch, and he wanted to play and everything else. But I just thought we looked better from then on. I thought we looked a better side.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, in the first half, when Stuart was playing, I actually thought that Fleetwood were maybe winning the better chances in midfield. But once he went off and Dougal and Virtue was there, I do strongly believe that we started getting more possession and creating the chances from midfield.
Yeah, I think Kenny Dougal really pressures, doesn't he? He really pressures and he picks people's pockets, which I like, and he
Yeah,
gets interceptions in, and I think Matty Virtue, is a more attacking midfielder. So with Kenny Dougal ratting and picking up and intercepting and getting it to Matty Virtue, and Virtue does attack the goal. He does like to go forward. He's pretty much box to box, isn't he, Matty Virtue? So
yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing that we've lost him for now. I would have rather not lost him and rather he not got obviously an injury, but because at the end of the day, we're getting that many injuries. It's unbelievable. The physio room must be packed out at Bloomfield Road at the moment.
Yeah,
Michael Haig says, afternoon troops. I thought yesterday was 2 points dropped and a very frustrating result. I agree with you. It was 2 points dropped, but I don't
yeah, that's
think,
great.
but I think we tried not to drop 2 points. I think that was the thing. I think we tried to win that game, and I just think we came up against a resilient Fleetwood team, a referee that didn't give us a lot, and of course, Lady Luck wasn't on our side, despite my prayer at the start of the game.
Yeah,
Blackpool
we did have
Bible is it?
we did have a few chances, but we
Blackpool
did have a few
Bible is
chances. But
here.
unfortunately, it's just one of them days.
It was just Blackpool Bible is here. Hi, Blackpool Bible. If you haven't followed him yet, you may follow him on Instagram, but he's now on Twitter as well. So give him a follow on Twitter, lads, and get him up there because he's a great resource for Blackpool fans. And of course, my two boys are big fans of Blackpool Bible, as we already know. Michael Haig says, our Achilles heel this season in regards to getting in the playoffs is that we don't score enough goals, and we have missed Gary goals for his hold-up play. Well, I'm going to touch on this a bit later. Maybe we'll touch on it now, actually, because I think one of the most important things about Gary Medine is not only does he hold the ball up really well, and when the ball goes to him, it sticks on him, and the defence really struggle to get it off him, but they also foul him quite a lot, and he wins a hell of a lot. He's very, whether he's an expert at going down under pressure and winning a free kick, but because he wins free kicks as well as holding the ball up, the ball stays up that end of the pitch so much more. And when you're getting free kicks, it's always more dangerous. You've got a lot more dangerous chances. And the thing I don't understand, and it seems common knowledge that Gary Medine, was suffering with a bit of an injury, been struggling with this groin problem for a while, and they must have known that. So I know they brought Ellis Simms in, but I think Ellis Simms played better in that game against Wigan when he came on when Gary Medine was on, because it kind of freed him up to run around a bit. And since then, obviously that Wigan game was 5-0. We played unbelievable that night. Gary Medine's been out, and we have not looked the team we were. And I think at that moment when we played Wigan, I was seriously thinking this team are going to get automatic because we've suddenly learned how to score goals. And since we've lost Gary Medine, we have. I know we did okay with Charlton, but Charlton kind of gave us the game, didn't they? If you think about the Charlton game, we won 3-0, but they got 2 men sent off. They didn't play particularly well. I didn't think Charlton, to be honest. They weren't a great side. Their heads were a bit in the shed. They hadn't won at home for a long time. And I don't think, although we got three goals there, I don't think that's a true reflection of how we're playing, because we're not going to get teams come to Bloomfield Road and get 2 men sent off, in every game we play, are we? So, but I think we're missing Gary Medine so much, and I just can't understand why in the January transfer window we couldn't get somebody. Fleetwood picked up Kyle Vassell, didn't they? Even I was watching him, I was thinking he'd have been all right we'd have been all right with Kyle Vassell. I know he's been at Blackpool before, but I'm sure they're not paying him massive wages, and I know he's a bit injury prone. That's the only thing with Kyle Vassell. But I think that's somewhere where, I don't know what you all think in the comments, but I think the January transfer window for me was disappointing at the time, and it's becoming more and more a disappointment. And if Medine doesn't come back soon, I don't think we'll do it. What do you think, Fred?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we really have missed Medine. As I say before, we've only scored 36 goals in 31 games. I believe that we have put the burden onto Yates. So as soon as Medine gets back, they can share that burden between them. I mean, what I'm concerned about is when Medine first initially went out injured, it was classed as a minor injury, but now he's been out for so many games. It's hard to understand why he's not come back as yet.
It is hard to understand. Michael Hager has a point here. I quite like this. He's also agreeing about the transfer window as well. He's actually said that it's his downfall not bringing somebody in. But I like this comment. He says he also thinks that Kai should be played through the middle. So don't think he's an out-and-out winger, and he's being played out of position. Now, I do actually. I don't know what you think, Freddie, but I do kind of agree with that Kai is not really a left winger. But if you bring him into the middle,
yeah, I agree with that.
If you bring him into the middle, how are you going to set up? Because at the moment we've got Kenny Dougal and Matty Virtue in the middle. So if Kai comes in the middle, who's he going to replace out of those two? And who are you going to stick out on the left wing? Because in my head, and I'm pretty sure on this, I'm pretty sure that Mitchell is a left winger, is a left back, left winger. But they keep, they took CJ Hamilton off and put Mitchell on the right. Well, Mitchell's on a left winger. From what I can remember, so I don't really see that. Maybe, well, I don't know how do we square that circle there with that? How do you bring Kai into the middle, and who do you put out on the left? Should it be Mitchell? And is Mitchell good enough to be on all the game? Because he seems to be very good when he comes on as an impact player at the end. But I've seen him be on the pitch all the time. I don't think he's big enough or strong enough somehow. I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I do.
How do we sort that out?
A lot of fans have said that Kai's best position is in the middle, and if you actually look at how he played under, I can't think of his name, the assistant under Gary Bowyer. What was his name?
Oh, sorry, Mick Phillips.
Yeah, if Mick Phillips actually played him in the number 10 role, and I strongly believe that we actually saw the best out of Kai. Regards to your question, I do think that we could put Labala on the left-hand side. A lot of Blackpool fans have said, okay, he's not good enough, but he actually came in after Christmas, and to a nice surprise, he actually started playing really well. I mean, he's actually been dropped since, and we've not seen him. He's not been on the bench. He's not been in the starting, in the starting team. So it's a question of obviously what's happened to him. I do think Mitchell offers is a fantastic player. He does offer a lot of pace going forwards, and I would like to see Mitchell play more games. To be fair, I think he does well when he comes on. He offers us something. So yeah, if Kai was to be moved into the number 10 position, definitely play Mitchell or Labala. Labala is another option.
Am I right in thinking that when we played AFC Wimbledon, we had Mitchell on the left and CJ Hamilton on the right? Was that the starting lineup? I seem to remember it started with Mitchell and Hamilton. I can't remember what happened in the game. It's just somebody may remind me, but I think we did start with Mitchell on the left. And I know sometimes Jerry Yates kind of roams around a bit, doesn't he? So he's not always in down the middle, is he? Sometimes he could go out left and Kai could go through the middle. I don't know whether they work on sort of that, where they put Kai through the middle, but
it could work if they rotate.
Kai had a decent game yesterday. I just don't think we got any luck with him, really. I thought he had a decent game.
He played a nice pass to CJ Hamilton when CJ hit the outside of the post. That's a good play by Kai there.
Yeah. He is dangerous, Kai. He can do things that other players don't. When he plays well, he does really play well. Andy Ormrod says he thinks that Gabriel has to be back in. He don't understand why he's been left out. I don't think anybody really understands why he's been left out. But then again, Ollie Turton has he got man of the match, didn't he? So are you going to drop Turton now and bring Gabriel back in? I don't think that's an option unless you start with Gabriel down the right and bring CJ Hamilton on, because I think Gabriel would be a great right winger, to be honest. Never mind a right defender. I think he's a real threat going forward.
Yeah, I think initially, I think that Gabriel was dropped for squad rotation to keep him fresh. But the games that Turton had played, he's coming and done really well. And as much as it was unfair to drop Gabriel for Turton, it's now unfair to drop Turton for Gabriel.
But he should be dropped because that's the squad rotation thing. Is that what you're saying? Just on the same premise that Gabriel was dropped, so should Turton be dropped to bring Gabriel. Yeah. So okay. I will kind of agree with that. I would like to see Gabriel back in. I do think we're a better team with him in, even though Ollie Turton got man of the match. I just think.
Yeah, I do think Turton's more defensively minded, whereas when Gabriel plays, he does like to get forward. And I actually think that we offer more on the right-hand side with him and CJ Hamilton down the right. They tend to overlap each other, and we do really well going forwards.
Yeah, and if we're going to score goals, which is, at the end of the day, it's getting to that point now in the season where we've either got to settle for the fact we're not going to go in the playoffs, or we've got to go for it. And if we're going to go for it, we've got to start setting up to attack teams and go at them and try and win. Win. It's all right being good in defense, but if we're going to make it and we're going to do it, we're going to have to take a risk, and we're going to have to be a bit more attacking, and we're going to have to just try and get goals with or without Medine, or else it's not going to happen, is it? I think it's fair to say we're pretty well safe now. Maybe one more win and we'll be safe anyway. So if you're safe, you can start to risk it a little bit, can't you? And really go for the wins, which is what I think we need to do.
I actually prior to this podcast today, I actually looked on the previous years, obviously apart from last year with COVID, what points we need in order to finish in 6th place. And there is an average of 71 to 73 points for the sixth position to gain the playoffs.
Right.
We currently need 22 points from the last 15 games to finish on those points. So if like it actually works out to about 7 wins, 1 draw from the last 15 games.
Okay, it is doable. I think we need to go for it more, to be honest.
Yeah,
Eugene McGeever says that I think Fleetwood parked the bus against Blackpool away yesterday at Bloomfield Road. Well, they did park the bus, and they were very defensive, and they did try to get us on the break, and they could have done. On another day, we've seen that, that Kyle Vassell attempt. It came, the ball back to him was beautiful. He just put it over the bar. On another day, on another unlucky day, massive deflection like we got against AFC Wimbledon. Anything can happen at that moment, or he could have just fired it in the top bin, couldn't he? And I kind of favoured him to do it, if I'm being honest. When I saw it come across, I thought, oh God, he's going to score. You know what I mean? You could just see it somehow, but it didn't. So we had a little bit of luck there, but that would have been, if we'd have lost that game, that would have been the cruelest defeat I think I've ever seen, because we'd have never deserved in a million years to lose that game. Blackpool
I think
Bible
Vassell is a fantastic player, and I would have liked to see him get re-signed in January. I think he would have brought us pace and different options up front.
Something like
he is a fantastic player.
Yeah, he is. And we could have just done with that experience, couldn't we? Especially with, people say to me, oh yeah, with hindsight, maybe you should have got, you didn't know Medine was going to get injured, but they must have known that he was struggling with this injury before Christmas. And they must have known that maybe he may break down, and maybe they couldn't keep, nursing him onto the pitch. And maybe that's why he wasn't playing with as much speed and everything else. He was just if he had this injury, and if they knew it was coming, they should have. Ellis Simms. Here's my thoughts on Ellis Simms. I really like him, and I think years down the line we're going to see Ellis Simms probably playing for England. We're going to say, oh yeah, we had him at Blackpool. He was absolutely fine. He was okay, and the problem with him is at the moment is that the ball does not stick to him. It bounces off him all the time, doesn't it? So if a ball's coming to him, he's got his back to the goal. He's got a defender pushing it away at him, and he just doesn't have the ability to hold that ball. It just pings off him somewhere. Yet when he gets, when he's free of a defender, he's a really tidy player. He puts some lovely balls through. He's got a quick touch. He's got a quick brain. He's fast, but he just doesn't have what Gary Medine has, and that's what, in my opinion, is what we need. And Ellis Simms isn't doing what we need him to do, which is hold that ball up for us and get free kicks and go down and be smart. And if they are pushing you and tugging you, fall over, you know what I mean? And make it more obvious that the guy's pulling you down, and they can't keep doing it. You know what I mean? If a defender's got his hands all over you and he's pulling you back and he's shoving, and you go with it, go down, he has to stop doing it, or else he'll just keep giving away free kicks. So I just don't think I think he's a great player. I just don't think he's good enough at the role we're trying to play him in at the moment. I think he will be, get him to 25 and get him to be a man, and let him play hundreds of games at this level, and dealt with the roughness of, grown men playing with him, and he'll be a great player. But at the moment, I don't think we have the time to try and train him into the player we want him to be. We needed to sign that player that was already the finished article, not a young lad that needs coaching into, we haven't got the time with him, have we? We would have had if Medina had been in, but anyway, I've maybe gone on a little too long about that.
I do believe that Ellis is a fantastic player, and when we brought him in January, especially with the start he got against Wigan, he got 2 goals, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, for me, I just don't think he's scoring enough. I do think he's a fantastic player. He's learning. I like him. I like his pace. I like him when he's got possession. He plays a good pass. But for me, I just wish he'd had a few more goals.
Yeah. I mean, we signed. We signed him, and he was, his average was a goal a game. That was his average. So I'm sure they looked at that and thought, God, this kid's scoring a goal a game. That's an incredible. It's a phenomenal average, but his average is going down all the time, isn't it? As he's playing with us, he's not a goal a game at all anymore, and. You don't want that to affect him mentally either, because I'm sure he came as a real confident kid that was banging him in left, right, and centre week in, week out. Goals were going in here, there, and everywhere for him, and he's now finding it a big struggle, and whether he's a young kid that could well be affecting him a little bit.
Yeah, it does show the difference between playing under 23 football and actually coming into real men football.
Blackpool Bible says Holloway's game plans worked in some, but cost us a lot in others. United at Bloomfield Road, Bolton and Blackburn away spring to mind. Had we seen out them games, we may have stayed up. Well, yes and no, Blackpool Bible. The United game at Bloomfield Road, I can never blame Ian Holloway for that, because we were conned in every way out of that game. We had a nailed on penalty. I mean, it was nailed on. United should have gone down to 10 men, because that would have been his second booking. The foul on Varney I'm talking about, where he just cleaned him completely out, nowhere near the ball, just ran straight across him and clattered him out. It is a penalty, 199 times out of 100. Yeah. It was absolute nailed on penalty. But we're playing Alex Ferguson at Bloomfield Road. Manchester United have not lost one away game when they came to Bloomfield Road. They've not lost an away game all season. It was like a record that United. You saw Alex Ferguson on the touchline. He was at the referee all the time. He was so big on that touchline. He was unbelievable. And I still think that referee on that day looked at that penalty, and in the split second where he had to make a decision, and it was an easy decision for me, but I'm sure he looked at it and he thought, if I give this penalty to Blackpool and I send this United player off, I'll never blooming ref again, because Fergie will get rid of me or whatever. So he's got that pressure in his mind, and he's thinking, if I give the penalty and I'm wrong, it'll be over every newspaper in the world. But if I don't give the penalty and I'm wrong, nobody will give it. It's just Blackpool. Who cares about Blackpool? Nobody won't make any news article anywhere. Nobody will say how Blackpool were robbed. And if that penalty was given and we score that penalty and United are down to 10 men, there is no way they would have come back and scored 3 goals against us with 10 men and 3-0 up. And we wouldn't have had to carry. They did catch us on the break, but they brought, they took Rooney off, and brought that Chikorita on, and he just tore us apart, didn't he? Chikorita, it was so fast, and it was just one of them things where they got the goal, and it's that sliding doors with United. But I do agree with you on the Blackburn away game. But again, robbed by the referee, weren't we, on the Blackburn away game? It was, it's a corner to Blackpool, and they give a goal kick, and he has to launch the longest goal kick ever, and Kingston spills it, and they scored in injury time. So I'm not sure if I blame Holloway for that one either. Really, I don't know.
Yeah.
Blackpool Bible says, after that, though, he says there's always going to be negatives to Critch's plan like Holloway's, but we have kept a ridiculous amount of clean sheets for a side sitting mid-table currently. Yeah, we have. A lot of people do say, don't they, that, sort the defence out and, don't lose games. Unfortunately, we've had a fantastic defence, and we've let 2 goals in late goals at home that has kind of put us under this. If we'd not, if we'd have been as defensively good as we are, and we hadn't have cocked up against AFC Wimbledon and Crewe, we'd be sitting really nice now. We'd have another 4 points on top of us, wouldn't we? And I don't know where that would have us in the table, but another 4 points on Blackpool would have us in a different frame of mind. Would have us in a different frame of mind.
As I said before, we've got the second best defensive record in the league, but it's just on the flip side. We haven't scored that many goals, and in the league for scoring goals, we're actually down towards the bottom.
Yep, totally agree. Michael Haig said we also need another creative midfielder as well as 2 more forwards. It would appear that Nadine is reluctant to sign a new contract. Well, he probably is, which will be a shame. Do we want to sign him again? Is he on big money? I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it. So
yeah.
Now
I'd personally love to sign Medina again. I feel that with the contract situation, there was that cap, wasn't there, where players were only able to have so much, how much money in the salary. Obviously, since that's gone, we're now in a different position where we can say to Medina, okay, we're going to offer you this. It opens up a few more avenues for us as a club.
Probably does, actually, and we have got a bit of buying power now with Simon. It does seem a little bit more less reluctant to spend money, should we say. He does spend a bit of money, doesn't he? Whereas, what we saw with the Oysons, but we haven't. we haven't made any real wow signings, have we? There's nothing that's made you like stand up and go, oh my God. You know what I mean? Wow, we just signed him. There's not been that really, even though we have signed players. We've been signing lots of people who I don't really know who they are half the time. I know them now, but at the time, I'd never heard of them. Nobody's like,
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for that day where we signed an Eamon O'Keefe. When my dad came running in to tell me that we signed Eamon O'Keefe, because it was a massive signing at the time, and we just don't sign those sort of players anymore. But whether we will. Reece Jefferson says a pretty decent game. We just missed our goal machine, which we did. James Longbottom here says that James Hill kept Yates and Simms rather quiet. What do you think of that? Do you think he did?
yeah, definitely. Ben Nappers was actually raving about James Hill yesterday and saying how good he was in the game.
Yeah. So we did. Not only that, they got some amazing blocks in, didn't they? Scotty up the pool says Kake offers nothing. It feels he runs at defences, then leaves is that the ball behind him, or leaves something behind him? Leaves the behind him. I think it means maybe leaves the ball, or doesn't. Kind of runs at defences and doesn't actually do anything, but he does occasionally, doesn't he? He does get some good balls across. Doesn't always.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yesterday when he played that ball across for CJ Hamilton, when CJ hit the outside of the post, I thought that was fantastic from Kake. I've noticed that a lot of fans are actually saying that Kake is a luxury player. When he's not, when he's not playing his best, he's terrible. But when he's on his game, he's fantastic and should be one of the first names on the team sheet. It's just obviously getting the best out of him.
Yeah. Scotty and Andy Ormo quickly says Carl Joseph would be a great signing. Do we know him? Do we know who he is? Carl Joseph. I'm not quite sure who he is. Carl
No,
Joseph.
I'm not too sure on that one.
The name rings a bell, but I'm not quite sure who he is. Andy, but I'll take your word on that one. Scotty also says he's a big fan of CJ for pace, but his touch is terrible. But don't you think that the injury just came at a bad time for CJ Hamilton? Because at that point where he got his injury, I thought he was turning into, his confidence was up. He was looking at, the best we'd seen of CJ Hamilton at that time. He scored a great goal, didn't he? He was looking to me full of confidence, bags of running, and he just was a danger. Then he got the injury, and I just don't think he didn't start off well at the start of the season. If you remember rightly, he wasn't the player we thought he was going to be in the pre-season. It took him a while to get going, but when he got going, he got going. And I feel it's just the same as well. I think he's very much a confidence player, and I think if that goal had gone off the post, I think we'd have probably got back to the CJ we had before he got injured. I don't know what you think of that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think prior to his injury, he was beating people for pace. He was getting a fantastic ball in across. I remember, in particular, Kai scoring in one of the games. One comment I've actually seen from Derek Yarwood. He believes that it's going to take another 2 or 3 games to get CJ's sharpness back in his games, and hopefully that once he gets his sharpness back, that's when we can start seeing the best of him again.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. I think, and also they're not giving him a full game, are they? He's only getting like 60 minutes here and there. So I don't know whether that actually puts extra pressure on a player, because you've got less time to score a goal. So, whether when he's playing, he's thinking, God, I've got to get a goal because they're going to be taking me off in about 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And he's under that pressure where he knows he's not fit enough yet to last the 90 minutes, or maybe he is fit enough and he does want to stay on for 90 minutes. He doesn't, he's raring to go. I don't know, because you don't know, behind the scenes whether Critch is still slowly bringing him back in and trying to stretch the time out, because what they don't want to do is obviously pull his hamstring again. And he's that kind of explosive player that, he could pull his hamstring again, couldn't he? It's just the way he plays. So I don't know whether that pressure of not being able to play a full 90 minutes is weighing on him, where he knows he's got to do something. If he hasn't got it by half time and the clock's ticking, and looking at the clock thinking, God, they're going to be pulling me off any minute if I don't get a goal. So maybe that's a pressure on him. You don't know everything, do you?
Yeah, you don't know from the player's perspective.
No. Right. Andy Ormond said, sorry, there's so many comments coming in. It's a bit hard to keep up with everybody. We will try and get as many of your comments in as we can, but we can't answer everybody. Andy Ormond said, I know what you're saying about Turton, but he's not getting back quick enough. Burton will be a handful on Tuesday. They will target Turton. I hope he is wrong. Well, maybe that's why we need to bring Gabriel back in if they are going to, target, because Gabriel is really quick. I think he's very quick.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
quick at getting back as well.
If you watched our games so far this season, you can actually see that the teams that do attack, they leave spaces in between for us. So if I was a Blackpool Football Club manager, I'd be starting Gabriel on that game so we can get forward and get into those attacking positions.
Oh, we all agreed on that. Give us a thumbs up in the comments if you agree that we should have Gabriel back in on against Burton. It's going to be a tough game, this Burton. We may talk about that in a bit. Michael Haig says, always in the box of toys we trust, he always gets some inside information. So he says that Critch knew about the Medina injury but played through the injury until he could no longer play on. So if they did, and we don't know it's true or not, but if they did and they knew Medina was injured and they carried on, then they should have got somebody in as a replacement in January just in case. They should have had somebody there. And I don't know whether it's they just thought they got this young kid in from Everton and they didn't need to bother and they could do it cheap, but there were so many rumors of players coming in January and not one of them did. Not one of those names came through. And I know it's easy for us fans to say, yeah, they're easy to sign strikers, but they're not always easy to sign, especially when you're not top of the league. If we'd have been up near the top of the league at Christmas, we'd have been easier to sign a few players, but we weren't.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem. If you're right up at the top of the league and you're going promotion, strikers will look at you, think, oh yeah, especially if you're scoring lots of goals, a striker will think, oh yeah, Blackpool's a team to go for. Look at that, they're romping this. I'm gonna be up in the Championship if I join them. But we just weren't in that. Maybe we just weren't in the position at Christmas we needed to be to get these signings over the line. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
If you looked at the first half of the season as well, Medina played a lot of games. It's only since we brought Ellis in January that Medina hasn't played as many games. So if it was a case of Critchley knowing that he's carrying that injury, he's brought Ellis in, and once he's brought Ellis in to have a replacement for Medina on the pitch, that's perhaps why he's not getting as many games, so he can actually get over this injury.
Maybe. I mean, they do need him to get over it, but again, is Gary Medina going to come back and be match fit and be ready to go when he comes back? He's been out quite a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
They're going to be, they're going to be doing the same thing with him, aren't they? Bringing him on for 20 minutes and nursing him back into games. So, Scotty up the pool says we need to play an attacking midfielder. We have Dougal, Stewart, and Virtue. They're all good, but they're all defensive. I actually think Virtue's a bit more attack minded than the other two. He was hoping that Embleton would do that. Well, that's another thing, isn't it? Embleton, rave reviews from Sunderland fans, is an attacking. We've seen some of the goals on his reel that we saw. Where he scores them from, and and he's not really getting a game either, is he? Should he? But to bring him in, you can't bring Matty Virtue in, can you? And Matty Virtue's our player, and Embleton's going back at the end of the season. So, but does he need to get a rotation into the game?
I could never really understand that signing in January. To be fair, it was just one of them of why we signed him. I do
didn't
strongly
see the player we
believe
needed, did he? Didn't seem the player we needed.
Yeah, it definitely raised a few eyebrows. I mean, with regards to the question, I do believe that if we had a player that could play in and around the number 10 area, then perhaps we could, score a few more goals from that position.
Maybe. I don't think our January business was the greatest.
Yeah, it wasn't great,
to be honest. Yes, that Wigan front man, the young lad. He was rumoured to come, wasn't he? I mean, he was at one time they were saying we'd definitely sign him, but again, he was only a young kid, wasn't he? He was only a young kid.
Yeah, Carl Joseph, I think it was.
Oh yes, that's probably who they were talking. Yeah, that's what Andy Ormrod was talking about. Yeah. Carl Joseph would be good, probably. But again, he's only young, isn't he? He's only young. I just think we needed an experienced lad.
There is players that I've seen so far this season, such as Carl Vassell, Carl Joseph, and also Joe Biggett from Wimbledon. Who I think would, if we managed to get any of them in January, would make a huge addition to our team.
Yeah, I thought that Piggott looked amazing against us, to be honest. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. Really good striker. Blackpool
Yeah,
Bible said rumours going around when the salary cap came about was Medine was the highest paid player at the club and one of the better paid players in the league, but need to get him signed up. I would like to sign him up. I think he's a
yeah,
great
definitely
player.
agree with that.
I just don't think we should. I think we'll regret letting him go as much as we, Armand Nangelay, we lost him as well. I mean, you'd love Armand Nangelay in the moment, wouldn't you? I mean,
Yeah,
the one thing
definitely.
that I was going to mention this, and the one thing that we're not good at, Blackpool, really, are headers. We're not scoring many headed goals, are we? You can think of how many headers have we scored this season? From the corner, Marvin Ekpiteta scored an header. Ballard scored a header, didn't he, the other day from a corner?
Yeah.
Simms scored an header on his debut, but he was, this is the thing that I liked about the Wigan game where Wigan were marking up Gary Medina. They didn't even see Simms and he just ghosted in, didn't he, and got a free header. But we don't have anybody who really heads, Jerry Yates doesn't, he had an header, didn't he? He had a great header, but, put it straight at the keeper, or the keeper it was a tight angle though and everything else. So I can't, but, Armand Nangelay, Christ, put him a ball anywhere near the sort of 4 yards out, anywhere in the goal, he was on it, wasn't he? He could egg goals in for fun. Armand Nangelay, so big.
Yeah, he actually got man of the match yesterday for Hearts.
I know.
I think as well with Medine, we do offer a more of an aerial challenge. One thing I do like to do is look at the possession and the stats at half time, and what I've noticed that with Medine playing, our percentage for aerial threats is a lot higher than it is when he's not playing.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and we are playing some high balls and stuff, aren't we, as well? And we don't win them. I mean, you can see every ball that we send up that's going somewhere in the middle of the pitch is just met by centre halves all the time, isn't it? Every game I watch it, we're shoving these long balls forward and the centre halves are just there. It's just meat and drink to them. It's like, it's so easy for them because there isn't really not a lot of aerial threat, is there, in our team? And like say, Medine does make that difference where there is an aerial threat. He sort of pulls defenders out of position as well when there's corners coming across because defenders are marking him out of the game, and it does free people up to score. Michael Haig says that CJ has got great pace, but the coaches need to work overtime with him with his final piece of play, which is simply not there. Well, it isn't at the moment, but it was. It was, wasn't it? Before he got injured, I thought he was turning into, his final ball, his shots on goal, everything. He was bags of confidence, and he's just, and you don't know how mentally a hamstring injury would affect him.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he can get that back.
He must be a little bit worried, if that hamstring goes again, because he's all about pace, isn't he? He cannot afford to lose a yard of pace, due to not being able to run so fast because of his hamstring. So it's a fine line with him, isn't it?
Yeah, I've said many times now that if CJ Hamilton had a great final piece, then surely he'd be a Premier League player.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he would. I mean, we always say this, don't we, about players at this level? They're always where they are because of some. There is some reason why they're not playing in the Premier League, and perhaps with CJ Hamilton, it is his final ball. But I just think he's a confidence player. And to be honest, I hate Blackpool fans getting on the backs of any players, to be honest. There's too much, I read all the time that, Kai's this and, CJ Hamilton's not that and all the rest of it. These are young lads. And, for me, you should cheer them on. They're your players and you should be behind them and, should write positive things about them. You can always find positive things to write about CJ Hamilton in that game, can't you? There's things he did that were great. There was things that Kai did great, but there's too many people that focus on those individual errors and the mistakes and the fact they didn't get round somebody and all this. And when I did the interview with Brett Ormrod, the most important thing he said in that interview for me that I took from it was that when you're playing another football team, you're playing against another bunch of athletes, and the people that CJ Hamilton and Kai are playing against, they're training every day to be able to stop Kai and to stop CJ Hamilton and to get around these players who are good players. It's not easy. You know, you're not going to get round them every time. You're not going to beat them every time because they're just as good as you, really. The teams are in this division are all very, very similar, aren't they? Anybody can beat anybody in the day, and that's because they're all that kind of level of player. And he also said, if you're a plumber, you don't go and start to do a plumbing job and some other plumber's ripping all your plumbing off as you're trying to put stuff up. And he said it's hard. You think it's easy, but it's not, because you're not playing against the dog and duck. You're playing against players that are trained to stop you getting around them, and they all, and they're wanting to win, aren't they? And so it's sometimes I think we're a bit too critical of players, and I think we're too hard on them. And I wish people were a bit more positive and see the positives, because there is plenty of positives to take from that game, I thought, yesterday.
Yeah. As you said there, Lee, that Hamilton is still a young player, and he does need to develop. And fortunately for ourselves and for CJ, he's playing under a manager, Neil Critchley, who's brought out the best of young players. Alexander Arnold and a few others to mention. So yeah, he's definitely in the right place, and definitely under the right manager to be able to develop his game.
Yeah, I think he will get better and better and better with obviously great coaching. I think he will. I think if he gets a goal, we'll see plenty more. And I said to Jane, that shot that came back off the post from CJ Hamilton hit the outside of the post, didn't it, basically? But that keeper was coming across, and he must have seen Cairns coming across, and his angle, Cairns was quick across, and there was a very tight angle to get that ball in. I sometimes think if he hadn't have hit the post, I think Cairns might have saved it anyway, because he was right on it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Don't know. Yeah. I think he was looking at such a tight, a tight margin to slot it through, that it needed a real precision shot, and he was damn close, wasn't he? He was damn close. I think if if it had been, like, say, 3 foot further to the left, I think Cairns would have got to it. I think he had to just get it right in that gap, and I think that's why he didn't get it. And I think it was unlucky, really. But I thought Cairns had a great game yesterday. I think he's
from actually watching that, Lee. When the ball came to me, it actually looked like CJ was stood still, waiting for the ball to come to him. Now, if he was actually running and would have met the ball himself, then surely the angles were a lot more open for him to score.
Right, good point. I'll have a look at that. Maybe he did dawdle, he didn't get to it quick enough. Maybe,
yeah.
But then again, that's because his hamstring. He's not 100% firing on.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh yes, Blackpool Bible says he thinks Andy met Kyle Joseph, not Carl Joseph. Yeah, I think that's what confuses. Blackpool Bible says if Piggott had signed, we would be going up class player. Yeah, Andy Onrod also mentions Will Grigg. Now, we were rumoured, weren't we, to be getting Will Grigg. Now, I noticed Will Grigg was at MK Dons, and I don't know how is he on loan at MK Dons from Sunderland, or have they bought him? Do you know?
I'm not so sure. I do think it's a loan, but I'm not 100%.
Right, because Sunderland wouldn't give us Will Grigg, was he? Because it was giving a striker to a rival club. But yeah, I think Will Grigg would have been all right in the Blackpool team, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Biggott. I always call him Biggott. Is it Piggott? But he's starting to. He's one of the top goal scorers in a struggling team that's around the relegation zone. So if he was to come into a club like Blackpool, I think that maybe he could develop and do a lot better.
Yeah, it's just signing these players like Piggott who are down in London. Do they want to move up to the northwest? I mean, I know Jerry Yates said the big un brought him here in his interview, but not always when you're down London do you want to move up to the northwest of England. It's not always an easy move. Cyber leader West Ham is here. Good afternoon. I know you said a good afternoon a few times, so nice to see you in. We are fine. Michael Egg said Piggott is okay, but he's not got a great deal of pace. He started his career at Maidenhead. And Blackpool Bible is also confirming what you just said as well, that Nangele grabbed another goal yesterday for Hearts from header too. Yeah, love the guy. I was really disappointed he left, really. I think he would have done really well in this team this year. I think it's a shame we couldn't keep him, but I just don't think we could. Keep him. Nick Muller is here. Ipswich fan. It's a word we've banned from our channel. We can't say the word Ipswich. We'll start calling every team Ipswich if I do. So we're going to ban it as a word. So you won't be able to say it on this channel because it's terrible. We have to call on the team that are in 6th. Nick Muller says Ipswich will beat Fleetwood on Tuesday. Show you how it's done. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? We'll have to see on that one, Nick.
Yeah, maybe. Fleetwood are in good form at the minute. Defensively sound, like yesterday. So I'm not too sure. I think maybe another draw for Fleetwood on Tuesday.
Mark Swarbrick, you see, he's saying that Hamilton has never been able to pass or cross the ball. It says that age 25 is exactly where he should be, lower league. It's simply fat not getting on their back. But, we have seen Hamilton put some great crosses across just before he got injured. I think you mentioned that ball he put across for Guy. It was tremendous. Yeah. So, I don't know, but again, I just don't like the fact that we, Blackpool fans are I don't know, for some unknown reason we have this mentality where there's always somebody we pick on, or there's some player that's getting the brunt of it sometime. I mean, if you remember, Marvin Ekpitesa was getting a bit of abuse at the start of the season, and other people called the two of them the masters of disaster and all that sort of stuff. And yet, in a few weeks, we're all lauding him as absolutely amazing. He was winning man of the match. So sometimes, you've just got to, I don't know, praise is better than criticism for me.
Yes. It's too easy to be able to be negative about a player. With regards to CJ Hamilton, I think just give him time, let him play a few more games, and hopefully we'll start seeing the best of him again.
Hawks Warbrick says he's very much like Lennon Walcott, a fast, headless chicken. Who to tell you? Just, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying, Mark, don't you? That's just the kind of thing I'm sure CJ Hamilton's going to really enjoy. I hope he doesn't come in and read this. You sometimes think, I don't know. I don't think I could be a footballer. I don't think I could be reading all the things that people said about me on Twitter all the time. It would just affect me so mentally. You know what I mean? I think you just either don't go on social media, or you've got to be really thick-skinned, because watching what people say about you must be so frustrating at times. And you don't know what happens what's going on in their life during the week, what problems they've got. You don't know the ins and outs of what's going on behind the scenes and where they are mentally, and how the injuries affected him mentally. And I just sometimes think I just wish we wouldn't give them such a hard time.
Yeah, especially if they're a confidence player, being negative about them would obviously dent the confidence.
Yep. Well, here we are, Blackpool Bible, just backing us up, really. I don't see the point in getting on the players' backs. Look at Bale's interview speaking about Madrid. Fans getting on the players' back makes things 100 times worse, and I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Players are only humans at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I'd be terrible if people, people were saying, you come off the pitch, you think, I did all right today. I did this, I did that. And you're reading the thing, in the Gazette, you're a 5 out of 10 or something. People saying that, Lee Charles, he needs to get off. We need somebody, you'd be like, oh God, can't pass, can't do this. Thinking, I thought I played quite well. It'd just be hard. Michael Haig says that Will Grigg on loan has scored over 3 goals since he's been there. Yeah, but I don't think Sunderland would have allowed us to have him, to be honest, on loan, because we're right. We're up there with them, aren't they? And it would be fatal for them to give us Will Grigg and then him take us up, wouldn't it? It would be a bad move for them. So I can't see that happening. Michael Haig says that Nanders was offered a good contract, but had his head elsewhere, like Turkey, where his career did not quite take off, thinking the grass was greener on the other side. It's not. Yeah, he did, but I don't know why we didn't. We didn't want him back, did we? We didn't want him back. There was because there was talk of him coming back, wasn't there? I think Blackpool kind of made it quite clear they weren't interested in Armand Nangelay. And do you think that's because there was a bit of a negative behind the scenes with him at the time? Do you think he was a bit neggy, wanted to be away, and he was causing a bit of the disruption that was in the dressing room under Grayson? Do you think maybe that was a thing?
Yeah, maybe. I think with Nangelay, even though he was loved by Blackpool, the question is, did he really want to be here? I mean, he left for Turkey the first time. It didn't work out over there. He came back, and then it seems to me the first opportunity he could get, he's gone again.
Yeah, he was off. but he's gone to Scotland, which I thought was a strange move because I was thinking he might not want to come to Blackpool because it's a bit cold up on the on the coast, but he's gone even further, hasn't he? Even colder up
Yeah.
there. It's awful. Blackpool Bible says people moaned about people moan about everyone. People moan about Maxwell because he's from Preston. Get over it. Also moan about husband. He's been mint for the last 3 months. Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? We kind of do. You look back on the players at Blackpool that have really made. Husband was, and he was coming in for a hell of a lot of stick at the start of the season, wasn't he? When he got sent off twice, and look how good a player he is. Really, he's out of contract as well. Would you sign him up? Would you want to sign husband on further? I think he's a great player.
Yeah, definitely. He's played really well at centre back. Obviously, he didn't play too well there in the early stage of the season, but since he's been played there again, he's done really, really well.
He's been phenomenal. He's been incredible. He's not put a foot wrong, really, has he, since he came back? And I think he's a great player. And yeah, Blackpool were really. Fans were going mental about him, when he got sent off at Southend, when he went in a bit hard on that corner flag, and obviously the two sending it off. He's had quite a bit of stick from Blackpool fans, and yet, people are behind him now. So get behind him, lads. That's it. Yeah. Get behind him. We need to go. We need to be behind him.
Touching on Maxwell early, there is times where yesterday in the first half, he came out to get the ball, completely missed it. And, there is times where he does worry me a little bit, to be fair, but I do strongly believe he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and I think that he's been one of the best goalkeepers that we've had since maybe the likes of Gilks when we went to the Premier League.
Yeah. I don't think he had his. I don't think he had his greatest game yesterday, but he's still part of a 0-0. There was that ball he spilled, wasn't there? And then he chased after it, and it was. I thought it was a really bad foul on him, to be honest. I thought the guy that took the ball out of his hands. He had his foot up to get that ball out of his hands, and yet the referee earlier on in the game booked one of our players for a foot up, didn't he? And I just thought that was and then obviously the injury he got was as he went down, he collided on the floor, didn't he, with the boot or whoever. He took a knock on the head, but that wasn't from the foul. But I still think he was like fouled in the first place with that foot up in the box, and I don't know. The referee just didn't seem to care, really. I know he gave a free kick, but I thought it was a bit more than that.
Yeah. What did you actually think about that referee yesterday, Lee? Obviously, we haven't touched upon yet about whether it was a red card or not for their player.
Yeah, no. The thing for me is that I kind of missed it. I didn't see the tackle because I was watching the ball going elsewhere, and I didn't really see how bad that tackle was. We're talking about the tackle. Is the red card the tackle on Stewart? Was that what it should have been red carded, or was there another tackle? Because I'm not sure, because I know Blackpool fans were going mental in my stream, and they never, iFollow never showed the incident again, so I'm not quite sure what exactly it was he should have got sent off for, because I didn't see it. But people were saying he was very lucky to stay on. We're talking about Batty, aren't we here?
Yes, Batty. Yeah, I've actually got a friend, Steve Teskin. He put on Facebook just before this podcast. He actually put a clear picture of Baggett actually taking the ankle of. I'm not too sure if it was Stewart, but yeah, there was a picture of Baggett fouling our player, and that should have been a second yellow and a red card.
Right. People will confirm probably in the poll. So, because if it was on the ankle, surely it will be on Kevin Stewart, because that's what he's gone off for. He's got ligament damage and everything else, hasn't he, on his ankle? So I would imagine that was the one, and that would have been his second yellow. And he'd given such a soft yellow to Kai, which I still really, I have no idea why he booked Kai. It just didn't look like he did anything wrong at all. Because if I remember, it was Kai. Yeah, that's it. Kai had his foot up, didn't he? But the guy came from behind him. He didn't. Although Kai had his foot up going for a ball, he didn't see that player coming from behind him, who then obviously got fouled. But Kai did nothing wrong for me. I just thought it was and then to not give a second yellow on something that was obviously a lot worse.
Even the commentators were saying that it wasn't a yellow card.
Yeah, it was odd, very odd. Again, we just seem to have very odd referees. Although in the second half, I didn't think he did much wrong, if I'm being honest. I thought, he didn't do anything wrong in the second half, the referee. I didn't even notice him. And if I don't notice a referee, I always think he's had a pretty, decent game. If we're not seeing him, he's not doing much. He's not, he he didn't seem to be blowing every 5 minutes, or he let the game flow quite well. So it was just that sending off, really. But at that time, Fleetwood were going mental about the referee. They were really angry with him, weren't they? At that time, they were.
Yeah.
I think the commentators were saying that Fleetwood are not happy with this referee, and I'm thinking, well, we're not happy with him either. He's not. He didn't seem to be giving much wrong. I didn't think until that red card. Jason Kinsella says yes, they didn't give us Will Grigg, but they gave us Embleton. But don't know. Just they might have given him, but he's not done anything, has he? So whether they knew they were giving us somebody that isn't all that good, I don't know. And maybe they just didn't want to risk giving us how much did they pay for? How much did they pay for Will Grigg? I remember watching Sunderland Till I Die. It got up to about 4 million, didn't it? I think.
Yeah, something like that.
They were like panic buying him, weren't they? If you have you actually seen Sunderland Till I Die? Have you seen
I think I've seen the first. I think I've seen the first series, and then they were going about Grayson. I kind of bored off it a little bit.
Oh yeah, well in the second series, it's all about them signing Will Grigg. Really, there's a couple of episodes on it, and they're trying to get him early doors in the transfer window. It's all in the January transfer window. They're trying to get him from Wigan, and they just can't get this deal over the line. And it gets to the final day, and the clock's ticking down, and Wigan are playing real hard ball with him, and they went from something like 1.5 million to agreeing 4 million in the end, all on that last day. It just
crazy.
They'd gone like 2 million. Will they take 2.5 million? No, up it to 3.5. Right, 4 million final offer. They still won't go 3.5 or something. And they said literally within the last half an hour, he said 4 million, will you take that? And they went for it, and they got him, and he just never did anything. It was a disaster signing for Sunderland. They never, and it's just that pressure of that last day. And I'm sure because they paid so much money for him, they don't want to give him they don't really want to give him to anybody that's going to bite them back on the ass even more than the fact they spent 4 million on him. But he must be out of contract soon, mustn't he?
4 million is just crazy money. I mean, even at his best, I wouldn't pay 2 million for him, in all honesty.
No. I mean, he was a song and everything, wasn't he, at one time? I remember I was DJing, I was doing the school discos, and all the kids, the Will Griggs on Fire song was just going mental at the time.
Yeah.
Giles Morgan says Kenny Jackett's been sacked from Portsmouth. Don't think he's all that well either. Has he been sacked or has he resigned? I don't know, but they've gone off the
reports have said he's been sacked. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, reports have said he's been sacked. I think Ben Nappers is ecstatic about getting sacked for some reason.
Oh, is it? Doesn't like him.
Yeah, he did a podcast just briefly before ours. So it seems to be very excited that he's gone.
I was thinking, why does it matter? There's no way I do a podcast on how excited I am. Kenny Jackett's left for Portsmouth. I don't know. People see things differently to me, I suppose. I just couldn't see the point in doing a podcast on that for our channel. If it ain't about Blackpool FC, you might as well not bother doing one, if I'm being honest. Mark Porter says, it's clear to see we haven't got a prolific enough goal threat. We don't seem to score more than one goal from open play a lot of the time. We have enough possession, good defence, but poor end product. We do, and it's not just CJ Hamilton that you can level this at, but there's so many crosses and corners and free kicks that we waste over and over again, don't we, in games?
Yeah.
The waste of what we do with set pieces in particular it's unbelievable. I know we do get the odd one or two, but half the time they don't get past the first man. The defense are just knocking everything away. Crosses come in, we deck them when we should be getting somebody at the far post. We're near post when there's nobody there. There's a lot of chances Blackpool have that come to nothing, isn't there? And it is that final ball in the third, that final ball in that lets us down all the time.
Yeah. I mean, as I said many times, Lee, that we've only scored 36 goals in the league, and if we were able to score more than one goal, then perhaps we could have picked up another victory at the Crew in the Wimbledon games that we draw 1-1 at home.
Yep, you're right. You are right. Michael Egg thought the referee was very poor yesterday. He got a lot of the bookings wrong yesterday. A poor ref. I mean, if I'm being honest, there's only been one referee that I've liked all season so far. That's the guy at Charlton, because he actually gave us something, didn't he? I mean, everyone was singing his praises. I'm sure the Charlton fans were actually hating him down to the ground. But he sent 2 players off. He was absolute charm for Blackpool, wasn't he? He was brilliant. But most of the referees this season have not given as much, have they? They don't seem to be really on our side. I don't think we just seem to be getting a lot of stuff against us.
I never understand the referees in this division. I mean, they do have poor games, and surely they have aspirations of, maybe one day refereeing in the Premier League. And obviously, going on the performances that they put into Division 1, I wouldn't play in the Championship, man, the Premier League.
No. The cyber leader says he's a West Ham fan. He says VAR should have checked that incident. That's why I'm saying VAR should be in all leagues. Yes, I know. Well, it should. Well, should it? Let's talk about VAR right now. It's the biggest talked about thing in football at the moment, VAR, how crap it is. That's the first thing, isn't it? We're hearing it. Endless tales of how shit VAR is, basically, and how much fans hate VAR. So why it should come down to our leagues, I don't know. Not only that, as it's double expensive, and the League One and League Two cannot afford VAR like the Championship can. It's a different world of finance and everything else. We're not getting 150 million every year from TV rights. Most of these clubs down here, and Blackpool are fortunate in the fact that they've actually got a decent owner and they have actually got money and they can spend it. But some of these clubs down in League One and League Two, they're hanging on by their fingernails actually being in the Football League. So how we could put VAR on them, I don't know how much it costs per game to have it. So I just don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I think VAR's
giving it for free.
I think VAR's ruined football in a way. Obviously, fans in the Premier League, they score because it's a goal, but then they have to wait on to when it's a VAR to be checked. On the flip side of that, there was an incident yesterday where did the ball hit Ballard's arm? Was that a penalty? And I think if we had VAR, then if it was checked, then maybe that would have been given as a penalty. You never know.
Yeah. So I think it's that old adage with football that at the end of the day, the decisions tend to even themselves out over the season, don't they? I wouldn't say that for Blackpool's trip into the Premier League. I don't think the decisions will ever level themselves out. But I think most football fans over the years have come to accept the fact that results go, decisions go against you and decisions go for you, and they do kind of balance themselves out over a season. And I just don't think we need VAR. I don't think it's a good thing. And I don't want it until they've absolutely got it perfect. And I don't think it should be used all the time. I just don't think it should be used all the time. I saw somebody saying something about like cricket, where you only have, you have so many appeals, don't you? And if you waste one, sort of thing. And I think that's it. I think the managers should be able to ask for a VAR replay, not the referee. I think the managers are the ones that should be able to ask for one. And I think they should only be able to ask for 2 or 3. And if they waste them, and it'll stop them. They will definitely only appeal when they absolutely, 100% think it's worth looking at. And I think it would not come into the game quite so much then if it's, if the managers were the ones that, had the right to bring out a VAR, then I think that would probably make it a better system. I just think at the moment it's VAR like 100% all the way through the game, checking every blooming second of the game. And I just think it's wrong. I just don't think it's right.
Yeah. What you said there, Lee, definitely gives a different angle to it. And I also don't think that VAR should be used until they know how to use it properly. It is ruining a lot of games at the moment, and maybe if they knew how to use it properly, then it should be an advantage for the game of football rather than be a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's one of those things that my dad always used to say. They could do with, he used to hate refereeing decisions. He used to say, we could do with like something like tennis. He always used to say that cricket, we should have something where we can see. And yet, we brought it in and it's not been successful. And I don't think it's right.
No, it's not.
I think we're agreed on that. Michael Haig says that Grigg will be out of our price range as he's on big money at Sunderland. He may be offered a new contract at Sunderland as they now have a new billionaire chairman. Well, that is a thing, haven't they? Got a new billionaire chairman he's got so much money, it's unbelievable. This young lad, hasn't he? I think he has a trust fund worth 5 billion or something. And he's not very old, is he? But imagine your dad giving you that. You'd be all right, wouldn't you? Yeah, Michael.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Michael is agreeing that VAR is ruining football. Let me just go on, 'cause I had some
Yeah.
questions to ask.
Just touching upon Michael's question there, Lee. Me personally, I wouldn't want Lee Will Grigg at Blackpool. I
Right,
don't think
okay.
he could offer anything. To be honest.
No. Okay. I don't, to be honest, the way he's playing at the moment, I probably agree with you. He's not great, is he? Right, these are some of the questions that I put down. First, I was saying, was it simply one of those days yesterday when it just wouldn't go in? Do you get those games sometimes where the ball just, for some unknown reason, there's like a force field around the goal, no matter what you do, either, like that massive virtue shot where it deflected and it just went over the bar. It's like you have those games where no matter what you do, it just won't go in. Well, we hit the post.
Yeah.
The two saved from Alex Cairns, the one from Yates in the first half, which was, point blank header, wasn't it? Yates in a great position on the far post, breezing in all day long. It was a goal, and Cairns just got in the way of it. And then the next one was Ellis Simms, who Cairns managed to, I don't know how he got across to it, just as he was about to put it in. It then bounces off Alex Cairns, and somebody gets to I don't know who got to it on the line, but managed to clear it on the line, didn't they? Was it just one of those days yesterday where it wouldn't go in?
Yeah, I think he was. I mean, as I say, looking at the stats, we had 24 shots. We had 24 goal attempts, and four of them were on target. So from four on target, you hopefully looking at one goal from four.
Yeah. I was saying, should we have taken CJ off? Should we have left him on, or do you think it's not an option at the moment? Do you think they are just nursing him a little bit at the moment with
Yeah, I do think
injury?
they're nursing him. I mean, what we could look at instead is maybe playing Ward on the right and then bringing CJ Hamilton on for the last 20, 30 minutes and betting in that way.
Yeah, would take a bit of pressure off him, wouldn't it? Maybe would give him a chance to ease his way back in. The other questions, let's have a look. We've got a couple more. I've put, do we look better with Stewart and Virtue or Kenny Dougal and Virtue? I think we answered that. I actually think we look better with Dougal and Virtue. I thought we looked better.
Yeah,
better with that.
Yeah, a lot of fans say that not Virtue, Stewart and Dougal are very similar in the type of play that they offer. Looking at the game yesterday, when Stewart went off, Dougal, as I said, previously, that Dougal actually looked back to his best, and he played really well with Virtue, and Virtue actually offered us something going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we look better with them in. I think that's Fleetwood done, really, to be honest. I don't think we can talk anymore about it. I think, I mean, I asked the question on the thumbnail and in the whole thing about this. I think Fleetwood were lucky yesterday.
Yeah.
I think they were lucky. I don't know if everybody agrees, but I think they were damn lucky to come away with a point yesterday. I think on another day we'd have got a goal there against Fleetwood. I just think they were lucky. And do we think we made their luck, or was it just, or were they just lucky?
Yeah, I think it was just a bit of both. I think it was one of them days, and Fleetwood came and played, sat back and let us have the ball. Looking at the post-match interviews from both Grayson and Critchley, Critchley stated that it was 2 points dropped, where Grayson seemed to be more happier that Fleetwood were able to gain a point.
Yeah, I think that tells its own story, then, doesn't it? Really, in the way that both managers saw that game. Obviously, Grayson did think he did a good job and managed to get a point out of it, and Critch obviously sees it as a fact that we played really well and should have won.
Yeah.
So, right, just quickly before we go, because I think that's it. I've just put Burton is another tough game. Is it a must win if to have a chance at the playoffs? Do we have to win this? For me, I'm getting to that point. I still think there is enough games left, but I think we have to beat Burton on Tuesday. I think mentally we have to beat them. I think we need to win at home again. I just think I think this is the most important game of the season so far for me. I think we're playing a Burton side who, a few weeks ago or over a month ago, you'd have been looking at an easy 3 points. They're not an easy 3 points. A lot of teams, the ones they've beaten recently are teams that you wouldn't have thought they'd have beaten. So that, they're beating top clubs as well. And I think this is an important game for Blackpool, and I think I'm more nervous about this Burton game than any game I've been for a while. And I so desperately, I didn't want to lose against Fleetwood because obviously because of nappers and everything else. I know him. I know he's going to get abuse, and the fact that it's not a derby, but it is the local derby, isn't it? It's the tram stop derby, whatever they call it. But I think Burton's a very important game. I don't know what you think there, Freddie. Do you think this is it? Muck and nettles with this one, or have we got time?
To be honest, I don't think it's a must-win game now. We have 15 games left. I do think we need to win around 7 of them and maybe draw 2 or 3. Burton are actually playing very, very good football at the moment, and they are top of the form table. Obviously, being a Blackpool fan, do I want to win? Yeah, of course I do. But I also think we'd be okay with a draw.
Okay, you take a draw. Okay, well, if we can, I suppose if we don't get beaten, I suppose maybe that's the thing. Quickly, Michael Hager disagrees with me. He says it's the same old Blackpool all season. We've not put our clear-cut chances away. We're lacking another goal scorer up front, but unfortunately, they cost money.
Yeah.
Yep. And although Simon Sadler is spending money, is he spending the right money on the right kind of players, or is it all a bit of a scattergun approach? I mean, we did get. When you think about the January transfer window, and we're all hoping to get so many players in, we actually shipped so many players out, didn't we? We got rid of more than we brought in, really. And is that because we are just scattergun in our transfer dealings, and we're not? Is it the scouting network that's not good enough? Are we not finding players that we need, or what?
It has been said that when Critchley first came into Blackpool, he wanted to play a formation of 4-3-3. And looking at summer activity regarding transfers, he's maybe brought players in to play that formation. What we've actually found out, and Critchley's learned a lesson there, that 4-3-3 may not actually suit us, doesn't actually play to our strengths. So what we actually did in January was we cleared some of the deadwood out. Critchley, when he came in, he's inherited 3 different players from 3 different teams. So I do feel that maybe getting some of the deadwood out and getting rid of some of that negativity that was in the squad from players that aren't playing did benefit us. If you do look at the the summer transfer window, we've actually brought some very, very good players in. Obviously, some of them were untested. So now we have we're going into summer. We've got a very good basis. Obviously, we want promotion, but if we don't get promotion this season, then we have a very good base of players, and maybe we can look to address bringing players in who would give us more options in the final third and going up next season when we've got fans back.
Yeah, we also did our business very early, didn't we? In the summer transfer windows, we were in really quick, weren't we? We soon got players in. So yeah, maybe I do agree with you. Actually, I do think we've got the basis now of a good squad. Obviously, there's some players out of contract. We may talk about that next time. I don't think we've got that now. Michael Egg thinks that Burton will be a very tough game. I think it will. Michael Egg is saying it is a scattergun approach. Critchard's not brought the right players into the club. It's as plain and simple as that. We agreed on that. Oh, we agreed on that. That it's as plain and simple that we haven't brought the right players in. I think we brought some good players in, haven't we?
Yeah, I do think we brought some fantastic players in. We have brought some players in who haven't really done anything, and they moved out in January. But yeah, overall, I was very impressed with the players that we've actually brought in.
It's up front, isn't it? It's up front where we failed.
It's definitely that final third.
You think of Nangele going. Medine was already here, wasn't he? So so we had Medine already. So we didn't replace Nangele, and I think that was the thing we've done wrong, and we're still continuing to do wrong when we haven't replaced a guy that was so prolific. And I know he was lazy. I know there was a lazy side to him, but he just knew where to be to get a goal, didn't he? He just knew, I mean, I remember being sat in this south stand and, ball came across from Feeney, and Nangele just headed it in easy as anything at the far post. And I was like going mental, and the boys were saying to me, "Well, he just gets easy goals. It's just a simple goal." And I'm saying to him, "It's only simple because he makes it look simple. Those goals are not simple. He knows where to be. He knows where that ball's coming. He's played with Feeney. He knows it's going to come to that far post. He's got himself into position. He's freed himself up from the defender and lost him, and he's just there to just basically nod it into an open net. But good strikers know how to be there, don't they? They know how to, it's not something, I don't know if it can be taught, but it's something in you, isn't it? When you played a long time, where you just know where to be, especially when you're big and tall like he was, and he just knows that any header anywhere near the goal line, he's going to get to it, isn't he? And we just didn't replace him.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel that we're very limited in the final third as well. If you look at the squad that Holloway had, he had around 6 different options to put in the final third, and unfortunately, we've only got 3 or 2. If you look at Medina's injury,
I mean, what are our options at the moment? Really, we've either got Yates on his own or Yates with Simms, haven't we? That's it, really, isn't it? Who else have we got as a striker? There? There's just those two. I mean, people keep talking about this. Is it Nathan Shaw, the young kid? Is it Nathan Shaw? They keep saying needs to come in.
Yeah, he's gone over to Stockport on loan, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's like, surely there's a kid they could maybe put on the bench, but do they want to risk another kid? I don't know the answers, to be honest, to that.
Would you like to see Labala come back into the team?
I like Labala.
Maybe give us a different option.
The thing I like about Bez Labala, and I've said this a few times on the streams, is you don't know what Bez Labala is going to do. You've no idea. In fact, sometimes I don't even think Bez Labala knows what he's going to do. So when he gets the ball, you don't know whether he's going to take him on, or he's going to pass it. But he does things that don't come off. He has a go and they don't come off, and he tries to beat a player. And I like a footballer that likes to take him on. I like a footballer that will have a go, and because defenders, for me, are always trained to cut out passes, to look for the pass, to be able to intercept, and when you're passing all the time, it's just meat and drink to them. But when you get a player that they have no idea whether he's going to take him on, whether he's going to pass, what he's going to do, he's a danger, because if he gets round a defender, doesn't matter how good a defender they are, once you're round him, you've got a chance of scoring a goal, haven't you? And you saw that with Jerry Yates at Milton Keynes Dons. He got around him. He Kai ratted it out and put the ball through, and it was past him, and defence can't do anything then. And all they could do was watch him skip round the keeper and put it in. And I think Bez Labala has that in him to win a game. I think he has that ability to just do something brilliant. But he is a bit of a loose cannon, because he does come on and balls bounce off him and all sorts of stuff. But then the next minute he's unbelievable in here, and I like him. I really like Bez Labala, and I don't know why he's not getting in. I don't know what's gone on. I don't know how he is in his mental frame of mind. I did hear something about that. He's up in Blackpool, and he's not settled as much as he wants to do, and maybe he's not got the run in the team that he needed to give him the confidence. But I think it's a shame with Bez Labala, because I think he is dangerous, and I also thought Keshi Anderson was quite good as well. I think we've missed him.
Yeah, definitely missed Keshi. I mean, Labala actually scored quite a few goals for Crawley last season. Yeah, okay, it was League 2, but I do feel that if he was on the bench yesterday against Fleetwood, then maybe he would have given us a different option. Maybe could have put it away into score, because if you look at one of the games he did play, he actually played a fantastic ball in from the left. I was very impressed with him, and maybe we could have done that with that yesterday. You don't know.
It's all this buts and maybes, Freddie, and it's all this. But he's not on the bench. He's just not on the bench, is he? Michael Egg saying Brendan Holmes out of the youth, or Rob Apter. Well, I saw Rob Apter come on, but he's again, he looks like he's going to be a good player, but he's tiny, and I don't think we need a little player. I think we need a big. I think we need some big imposing player. I think we're missing that Gary Medina, aren't we? We're missing a player that can just rough up their fullbacks a bit and not give them such an easy game.
It's a shame we can't bring on. It's a shame we can't bring on Apter to take the corners.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's taken one corner and one assist, hasn't he, so far? So yeah, it was a great corner from Apter. But I just think that when teams are playing Blackpool, the centre halves are playing Blackpool at the moment. They have a really easy. The majority of their game is so easy for them because they're just heading. They haven't got anybody that's threatening them for a header, whether it's in the middle of the park or on corners. They just get to everything, don't they? Because it's just like easy. It's just easy. There's no height. Ellis Simms maybe, but he's not really. He's not really that aerial threat that Medine is he? He's not.
Yeah, definitely.
No. So I think that's it for us. I think that's it, Freddie.
Have we got time to do player? Have we got time to do player ratings before we go, or are we?
We could do player ratings. Yeah. Well, we can do. Let's go through them. Then we'll just do player ratings, starting off with Chris Maxwell.
Okay, for me yesterday, and Chris Maxwell gained a 6 out of 10. We've touched upon there was a couple of nervy moments. Other than that, he didn't really have that much to do, did he?
No, I would probably be a little bit more generous with Chris and give him 7. Like I say, he didn't have much to do. What he does, he makes it easy. His kicking was great yesterday.
Yeah,
and I keep saying it over and over again. I've said it so many times now that he just chose the one moment to miss kick a goal kick and put it out in our half, which we paid the price for. If he'd have just kicked like he did yesterday, or in every game I've seen him all season, just kick a long ball upfield, we wouldn't have drawn against AFC Wimbledon. It was just unbelievable how he just didn't get that goal kick off, because he's pretty steady, and he's pretty steady Eddie with all that.
Just unfortunately one of them things.
So fullbacks.
Should we start with Turton?
Turton, yeah, for me, he had a great game. Can't fault him. 9 out of 10 for me. He did nothing wrong.
Turton, man of the match for me yesterday. A couple of decent tackles. Actually give him an 8.5, but I'm more inclined to agree with yourself, Lee, on a 9.
Okay. Garbett on the other side.
Garbett, 7 out of 10. He got forward. I really like Garbett on the set pieces. I feel that he's able to beat his first man. And 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay. I'm pretty much the same. I didn't really see him do anything fantastic yesterday, did he? Just steady Eddie, really, wasn't he, yesterday? He didn't do anything. Yeah. He didn't do anything spectacular. He didn't do anything wrong. So I'm inclined to agree with you on that one. Husband.
Husband, I like 7 out of 10 for me yesterday. I think he did okay with Ballard at the back, and he's starting to do well in that position.
I would give him an 8 on that, because I don't think he did. I thought he had a great game yesterday, Husband. I thought he did. Whenever he was on the ball, whenever Bun Man, as we call him, was on the ball, he was doing good stuff. So I thought he was great. Ballard, Dan Ballard.
Ballard, 7 out of 10. I felt he was unlucky. Or I thought he was lucky to not give away that penalty.
Yeah, he was a little bit. Yeah, I think he wasn't as good as he's been, has it, over the last few games? Maybe a little bit off the pace. Kevin Stewart.
Stewart, probably give that 6 out of 10. Obviously, he did okay until he had to go off for injury.
Yeah, I didn't think he was pulling up any trees, to be honest. I didn't think he was looking that good yesterday. I'm going to go roughly the same with you for that one as well. Kenny Dougal.
I actually thought he stepped up really, really well once Stewart went off, and as I said earlier on, I think that he looked to be towards his best pre-COVID. So I gave him a 7.5.
Okay, yeah, I thought. Now it's weird because I had George from the number 3 coming on my stream, and he was slagging off Dougal. He said he was having a terrible game, and he actually said, when he said it, he said some of you might disagree, and I straight away disagree because I thought he was doing all right, Kenny Dougal. And I thought he was an 8 out of 10. I thought he had a great game yesterday, but George from number 3 didn't rate it at all. I was like scratching my head as to why I didn't like how he was playing, because I thought he was doing everything that Kenny Dougal does, and he didn't get booked, did he? And he goes in, doesn't he? He goes in sometimes. You think, bloody hell! But
like I say, everybody's got their own perspectives.
That did the great? Who did the great tackle? The defender that took the ball off. Did he take it off Vassell? It was a superb tackle.
I think it was Turton.
Was it Turton? It was Turton. Yeah, God, it was phenomenal. That. I mean, he could have given a penalty away easy as anything, couldn't he? It was great. Anyway, sorry.
It was a fantastic tackle.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so he does deserve a 9 out of 10. Kai, for me, I'll go first on this one. I actually thought
Okay.
Kai had one of his best games yesterday. I thought he played really well. He's not in the game all the time, but when he is the game, I always think he looks dangerous. And I will give Kai an 8 out of 10, mate.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go for a 7. I think he did really well, and I love the pass he did out to CJ when CJ hit the post.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay. CJ Hamilton divides opinions at the moment. I'm prepared to be a little bit lenient on him because I think he's still coming back from injury. I think he's not hit the form that he hit before he was injured. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10, me. And I think if he'd have scored that goal, we'd have all been talking about him again like he was a wonder kid. I just think it was. I think it's fine margins, and he had a small area to aim at, and like you say, maybe that was because he didn't go for it quick enough. Maybe that's why. So I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. I don't know what you give CJ.
I've actually give CJ a 6 out of 10, and maybe that's a little bit harsh, but I just feel apart from hitting the post, he didn't really offer that much. He didn't really offer anything in the game, and maybe that's just because he needs to get back to full match fitness and get his sharpness back.
Okay, Jerry Yates. I thought he was unusually. He didn't do a lot, did he? Whether he was, like you say, he was well shackled through the game. And I think that was probably not Jerry Yates' best game. I give Jerry a 7 out of 10, to be honest, yesterday. And that header when he had the chance again is another one that was a great chance. So 7 out of 10 for me for Jerry.
Yeah, I give him a 6 for pretty much the same reasons that you've just said then.
Okay. Ellis Simms.
Gonna go first?
You can do, yeah. Just interested to see what you think of him.
Okay. I'll give him a 6 out of 10 again. Didn't think he was brilliant. So yeah, I give him a 6.
I'm exactly the same. I didn't think that was a great game from Ellis Simms yesterday. I'm not going to knock him too much because I think he did. He does some great stuff, and I like him. And I think he's a young man that's going to get better and better and better. And we'll see him years down the line say, "Blimey, we had that kid at Blackpool." And I think he's got everything. I just think with Ellis Simms, they're playing him and they're trying to play him as a Gary Medine, and I just don't think he's ready to be a Gary Medine. I just don't think he's experienced enough. I think the ball bounces off him so much. The balls come through to him and they just, he traps them. So he just whether it's because he's got defenders are pushing him from behind and stuff, but the ball bounces off him all over the place. And I just wish he could hold that ball up better. So I'm also giving him a 6 as well. Sorry, Ellis.
I agree. I've seen
players, but
I've seen a few fans on Twitter saying that we're trying to use him as a target man, and he just doesn't. He's not used. He's not. That's not a position for him. He's better running with the ball and getting a strike off.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's the problem in it. We've known Medine. I think we've come to that. Substitutions. Obviously, Matty Virtue came on. Thought he played. Thought he had a decent game. Matty Virtue, can't fault him really. I thought he was so unlucky with that deflected shot over the bar. So I'm going to give Matty Virtue an 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay, I'll give Virtue a 7 out of 10. I like him. I think he's a very good football player. I think he did okay yesterday without excelling. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for me.
And Mitchell, I think is the only one I can really think of that made any difference coming on. Put him out on the right when he's a left. He had a chance, didn't he? He had a chance to win the game and didn't take it. Can't forgive him for that. 7 out of 10, Mitchell, for me, for not putting that header in at the end, not making the day for us and making the night wonderful. And we could have had a total different conversation this afternoon if you'd have just put that header in, Mitchell.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, give Mitchell
the game.
I give Mitchell 6 out of 10 as I didn't feel his end product was great yesterday.
Right. So that's it, folks. I think we're pretty much Michael Ace's man of the match. That's it, Freddie. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you everyone who's joined this stream tonight. And if you're watching this on the rerun, thank you very much, mate. I know 2 o'clock sometimes people can't make it and people watch it after. So if you're watching this, thanks for watching after. Hope you enjoy it. whether you agree or disagree, you know, that's what football's all about. It's all,
Yeah.
oh, blimey, here we go. He's coming right at the end. Cosvlogs is here. Says a draw was
Here
fair.
he is.
Turton was outstanding. Honestly, we've been here an hour and a half. We bring you in, Ben. You could tell us what you think. Turton was really good. Was a draw fair? You battled for a draw.
You should have just missed that one out. Like, just said see you later.
Yeah, I think you were lucky, Ben. To be honest, I think you had the football gods on your side, and that ball just wouldn't go in today.
Yeah.
But for battling, for getting your bodies in the way, for your keeper, for kicking off the line, for everything, yeah, you know, you battled for a draw, but I don't feel a draw was fair. Actually, I think we should have won. But thanks anyway.
I think
ruining the stream.
I think Fleetwood achieved what they aimed to do. They came, sat back, and let us have possession, and played out for the draw, and they got the draw. So yeah, I feel that a point was more in favour for Fleetwood than it was Blackpool.
It's not happy, is our Ben? He's saying, are we serious? He disagrees massively. Well, yeah, football, as we always say, is all about opinions, and I thought Blackpool were by far the better team yesterday.
I like you, Ben, but you're a Fleetwood fan, so there we go.
Yes. Okay. Right. On that note, we're going. Thanks for popping in the stream, Ben. Of course, it's all about opinions, and he thought we were poor yesterday. He thought we were poor, right? Okay.
Yeah. Just like to say a big happy Mother's Day as well to all the mums watching.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and we didn't think much of Fleetwood either. If I'm being honest, really, I didn't think they were that good. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. Just want to say a big happy Mother's Day to my granny as well, and say thanks for always being there.
Happy birthday, Freddie, granny, if you're watching. Thanks a lot, everyone. We're going to get off before Ben gives us any more abuse. So we're going. Thanks a lot, folks.
See you guys. See you next time.
3 points on Tuesday. That is what we want, and we'll be here on
Wednesday
at 2 o'clock, won't we? Wednesday at 2 to discuss Burton. Hopefully, we're in a happier frame of mind next Tuesday. Thanks, Freddie.
Fingers crossed. 3 points. Good night, guys. Take care. Bye bye.